All right, everybody, and welcome to my personal perspective of the Kenshi lore, or the backstory behind Kenshi. There is not a whole lot of truth in here, or not 100% scientific proof, I shall say, that what I'm about to say is completely accurate, but I do think that there is a couple of bits and pieces that might string along a series of events that could potentially be real. And if they are not, this I hope is at least interesting to listen to. But before we start the meat and potatoes of this video, I'm going to give a brief backstory behind the history of Kenshi. Now, mind you, a very brief, because I can go on for 3 hours. I'm going to start off with the First Empire. The First Empire took control of the moon of Kenshi 3,000 years before the setting of the game. This great empire, spanning all of Kenshi, it's unknown where they came from, but it's speculated that they settled on the moon of Kenshi from another planet. But from other unknown circumstances, as is an unknown enemy, rebellion, famine, or even infighting, set the motion of the first calamity, setting the world of Kenshi into a relative stone age in comparison of the First Empire's technology. Now, I want to emphasize on the unknown enemy. The unknown threat is kind of where I'm going to be leaning towards more. And about 1,000 years afterwards, the fall of the First Empire, there was a Second Empire rising. And this Second Empire was essentially a skeleton empire. The heads of this empire was Cat Long and Tin Fist. The wiki states that the beginning of the fall of the Second Empire was due to the never-ending fights with the cannibals and pirates, but no one knows for sure what drove the nail in the coffin of the Second Empire. So let's get to know a little bit more about Tin Fist and Cat Long. Tin Fist and Cat Long were both different sides of the same coin. Cat Long was more about himself, wanting to rule with an iron fist, basically thinking that it was his way or the highway, making him a very dangerous individual. They had massive skeletons the size of the Empire State Building almost. If you go to Obedience, you will see what I am talking about. Now, Tin Fist, while similar, was doing what he believed what would empower the humans for everlasting prosperity. This does not right his wrongs about his views or his actions, but he thought that he knew what needed to be done, and anybody that didn't follow what he said would be his enemy. I don't know a whole lot about Cat Long. Actually, I've never even beaten the game. So, take that for what it is worth. But I do know a little bit about Tin Fist. If you look at Tin Fist's stats, or his skills, his perception is 1 when everything else is close to, or if not more, than 100. If his perception was at 100, then I'd believe his deception would be at 100 if it was part of the game mechanics. So, if you have high deceptive skills, you would have a very easy way of lying or stretching the truth. I feel like Cat Long would have a more of a 100% deceptive skill than Tin Fist. Now, not known 100%, but that is the way I feel about it. So he's probably not lying about anything that he says about him wanting the best for humanity. And anybody who gotten in his way would end up dying or being his enemy, making it worse for all of humanity. So, with that being said, I really do believe that there is I have to take what Ten Fist says with maybe a slight grain of salt, but nonetheless, I think he has 90% of it figured out. Now, the most typical way of playing Kenshi is to overthrow the factions that you perceive to be as the bad guys, creating a huge power vacuum, sending the rest of the world into disarray. Now, everybody's favorite faction to destroy would be the Holy Nation. But if you do destroy the Holy Nation, they are the home of 70% of the most agriculturally abundant areas in Kenshi. And if you kill them all or go on a mass genocide, that would destroy 70% of the crop fields, or a great majority of the crops nonetheless. Another favorite empire to destroy would be the United Cities. But if you do that, then 70% or more of the building materials would be destroyed and not being circulated throughout the rest of Kenshi for the betterment of everybody. So there's really only 2 or 3 characters who were alive at the time of the First and Second Empire who haven't had their memory erased, allegedly. So, like I said, you have to take a little bit of a grain of salt of what Ten Fist says, but you can, in my opinion, kind of believe him and maybe make your own judgments off of what he says. Hypothetically, if you were to destroy the Holy Nation, United Cities, the Shack, the list goes on, really, in the name of morality, and have a thriving metropolis of food, wealth, and weapons, but leave Ten Fist alive because you believe that he is good for the everyday human being, then with you killing the Holy Nation and the United Cities, you would be essentially digging your own grave. Ten Fist would arise an empire to destroy you because he would see you the potential of the third calamity, not knowing that he would be creating the third calamity in and of itself. But if you do kill Ten Fist, the Holy Nation, and the United Cities, then you are already the third calamity that is going to destroy the world of Kenshi and send them into even more disarray, even doing that. And like I said, if you kill Ten Fist, Cat Long, there will be somebody else in the world that sees you as a threat and will rebel against you. And where I'm getting at with all of this is that you, the player, was the cause of the first calamity, the second calamity. And you playing Kenshi, or me playing Kenshi, is the start of the third calamity. The maker of Kenshi, his name is Chris Hunt. He is currently creating Kenshi 2. He is an amazing world builder, building such an amazing world with so much lore to observe and dive into. The creative process of Kenshi is almost mirrors the gameplay itself, starting out as nothing but a dream and not a single dollar to your name, and slowly but surely turning a piece of copper ore into a whole nation of prosperous life. I almost feel like Kenshi 1 and Kenshi 2 will rhyme. Almost like this unknown movie trilogy from the 70s named Star something. I digress. That's just a dumb reference to some obscure movie. Now, getting back to Kenshi 2. Kenshi 2 is supposedly taking place 1,000 years prior to Kenshi 1, around the same time as the Second Empire. So, I'm just gonna be, spitballing here real quick. If Kenshi 2 plays anything like the first, then you are literally playing as the second Calamity. And if you are to rhyme, and if you are to create a page out of this 70s movie trilogy, you would continue the series for a third time, going back another 1,000 or more years in the past, which would essentially mean that you have not only started the first Calamity, not only the second Calamity, but you are the third Calamity as well. Now, I don't know all of this for sure. This is just wild speculation. But I would love to hear what you guys have to think about what I am saying. Am I complete bullshit? Do I have a little bit of possibility of truth? I don't know. I think, it's up to interpretation. So let me know what you guys think. Now, the video that you see in the background is not necessarily tied into what I'm talking about. It is literally just a scrapped video from my Kenshi gameplay series that was supposed to take place in episode 6. So if you want to watch my gameplay series, go check out my channel, go subscribe, and I will have more being posted as time goes on. Thank you very much for listening. See ya.